Have you ever noticed how some people compliment you, but the compliment feels strange, like it's wrapped around something sharp? They say, "Good for you," but their eyes don't move the way eyes move when someone is actually happy for you. And you leave that conversation feeling smaller, not bigger, and you can't explain why. That's envy. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind. The kind that wears the mask of friendship, of support, of, "I'm just being honest with you." And most people never learn to recognize it, because envy is one of the few emotions almost nobody admits to feeling. Anger, we confess. Sadness, we confess. But envy, we hide, even from ourselves. Here's what's strange about it. The people who envy you the most are rarely your enemies. They're usually people close to you. A friend. A sibling. A colleague who sat 2 feet away from you for years. Because envy needs proximity. You can't envy a stranger's life the same way you envy someone who was supposed to be your equal, and somehow isn't anymore. Envy is comparison with intimacy attached to it. That's what makes it so painful, and so well disguised. And this is where it gets interesting, because envious people don't usually know they're envious. They experience it as something else. They experience it as irritation. As overanalysis. As a sudden urge to point out your flaws right when something good happens to you. Notice that pattern. You share good news, and instead of joy, you get a question. A warning. But did you think about, it's not that they want you to fail. It's that your success is quietly reminding them of somewhere they feel stuck, and they don't have the language for that discomfort, so it leaks out as concern. This is the part most people miss. Envy isn't really about you at all. It's about the gap between where someone is, and where they secretly wish they were. When you grow, when you shift, when you become visibly different from who you used to be, you become a mirror. And some people cannot stand mirrors, because mirrors don't lie kindly. So what do they do with that discomfort? They minimize you. Softly. It's just luck. You always had it easy. I could do that too, if I wanted to. These sentences aren't insults, they're defenses. They're a way of closing the gap without doing the work of actually closing it. If your success can be explained away, then it doesn't have to mean anything uncomfortable about their own choices. And here's the part that will sit with you for a while. The people who envy you often stay closest to you, not despite the envy, but because of it. Distance would mean losing access to comparison. They need to keep watching. Keep measuring. Which is why some relationships feel like they're built on subtle competition disguised as closeness, why some people ask about your life not to know you, but to locate themselves against you. Once you see this clearly, you stop taking it personally, and that's the real shift. You stop needing them to celebrate you the way you imagined they would. You start noticing tone instead of words. You start noticing who gets quiet when you're doing well, and who gets loud when you struggle. And slowly, without announcing it to anyone, you start protecting your peace from people who were never actually rooting for you, they were just sitting close enough to watch. This isn't a call to cut everyone off, or to become suspicious of every relationship in your life. It's simpler than that. It's just permission to trust what you feel in these moments, even when you can't explain it in words. If someone's presence quietly drains your joy every time something good happens to you, that feeling is information. You don't owe anyone an explanation for noticing it. Maybe the real growth isn't learning how to deal with people who envy you. Maybe it's learning to keep shining anyway, gently, without shrinking yourself just to make someone else more comfortable. If this made you think of someone, or maybe even made you see yourself a little differently, let me know in the comments. And if this kind of reflection speaks to you, stay a while. There's more here for people who like to understand themselves a little deeper.